Josh Green is one of the leading harness horse trainers in Delaware, and Sasha Moczulski is one of the leading riders on the racing under saddle circuit. But their love for being around animals goes much further than our beautiful horses. They've become widely known for opening their home and providing a forever family to dogs with disabilities.
How we got started is we had a dog that we had to remove a right front leg because of cancer. So we removed the leg, and she actually lived like 4.5 more years with removing the leg with cancer. And after she had passed, we kind of just got gradually into it, and ended up, our next dog that we adopted was a dog that was 3-legged.
They kind of just come to us in weird ways. We had lost a few dogs. They had all gotten old or kind of passed from cancer. So we had actually, we didn't have dogs for a few years, and then we went to Pets with Disabilities in Maryland, and Franklin just gravitated towards us. He loved us instantly, kind of came to our side and didn't leave. After Franklin, my sister passed away, who was blind, and then Josh found Abby online and sent me her picture, and I started crying immediately. So it was like, a week after that we went down to Tennessee and got her. Several other ones, it's kind of just looking through, and we find the ones that no one wants, or rescues will call us with ones like Albert. No one was going to adopt Albert. So Albert was actually a surprise from Josh, because I'd wanted him, and then we flew down to Georgia one day, and I had no idea what we were doing, and we were picking up Albert to bring home.
Albert was a surprise. It took us like an hour to get him loaded in the car from the rescue. But it was just one of those things where
it was the right thing to do.
There was no one going to adopt him.
This is Albert. He has no eyes.
Oh boy.
He is scared of men's voices, so we talk. For
Josh,
the first couple months, I talked like Michael Jackson in the house and in the yard, and everything, and he kind of got accustomed to me. Very, very sweet dog.
He doesn't have a mean bone in his body, not at all.
Loves affection, but just has fear. Is great with women.
He can go for walks on the beach. He comes to the barn every day. We can go inside the pet store. And he's gotten very acclimated for the most part.
He's made huge progress. Cool. His birthday's actually Christmas Day.
He's a Christmas baby.
He'll be 2 years old.
Albie was the greatest surprise of my life. So the rescue that we had gotten Abby from, which is the first Great Dane we had that was blind, that rescue had gotten Albert, and they had called us about him several times, and they just said that there's no one that's going to take him. He's a very tough case. We would be the perfect family for him. We kind of went back and forth a little bit, and I had shown him to Josh and kind of told him about him, and we just didn't make a decision. And then one day Josh asked me if we had any plans the next day, and I said no, we don't. So he said we're going to leave the house at, 2:30 or 3 in the morning?
Yeah.
His parents picked us up and drove us to the airport. I had no idea where we were going. We just had an overnight bag packed, and then he pulled out a suitcase that you could fit a body in, which unbeknownst to me had a dog bed, treats, toys, everything in the world for a 10-hour drive home. So we get to the airport, and we're walking down the terminal, and he said, you're going to figure out what we're doing as soon as we get there. So I said, well, just tell me. And he showed me a picture of Albert, and I started crying right in the airport. So we went to Georgia. It took us an hour to get him in the car, and then how long? Was it 10 hours that we drove home?
It was 13.
13, and Albert.
I was a little concerned because we could not get him loaded. He would not move. We joked that we finally got him in the car, and we joked that the people were looking out the window to see if we had pulled out.
If we were going to actually pull out and leave with him.
I had talked to Sasha, worked on me for months. For Albert.
Yeah.
And I kept saying, I think it's too much. And I was talking to the rescue down there without Sasha knowing, and the lady just said that there was absolutely no one, that like they had no one. So he's been tough, but like he's an awesome dog.
He's taken the most patience out of any dog we've had. The first time that we got him home, wouldn't you say like the first month, it would take us half an hour just to get him to go outside. He wouldn't have an accident in the house, but it would take us half an hour to get him to go outside just because he was so fearful of the world. it's definitely not for everyone. You have to make sacrifices with it. You can't go out every night of the week that you want to. You can't engage in every social event that you would want to. Vacations are a lot less, and you have to make that sacrifice. But what you're getting from them, again, like Josh said, is just so much more. You saw what Albert was like when you first got here. So when we first got Albert, he would belly crawl on the ground everywhere and wouldn't stand up. We've had him long enough now that we can take him on walks, we can take him different places, but you spend a lot of time acclimating them to different situations and them realizing that they can trust us and we're not gonna take them to another home, that they're here with us forever. So that's a huge responsibility. And then vet bills, that's another responsibility. That's another place where you have to make sacrifices financially. Franklin has had 4 surgeries in the past 4 months, so it's a big give and take. So maybe you don't go out to dinner all the time, but you can take care of your animals a lot better. This is Oliver. He is 10 months now. His birthday's in December. He is from Texas. He's from White Kiss's Great Dane Rescue. He's a double Merle. He is deaf, although I have the trouble of still talking to him like he can hear.
He knows hand signals.
Yes. He's still a puppy, so he's better at paying attention when he's not looking at everyone and new faces. He's extremely brave. We've had him since he was just a few months old. He's the happiest boy in the world, and we kind of use him as like a seeing eye dog for Albert. He helps Albert as far as getting brave in new spaces and places. As you can see, Ollie isn't afraid of anyone, and he just helps Albert with that. Earlier we showed you how he'll walk Albert on the leash, so he just helps with all kinds of stuff that way. He does a lot for him to help map out new areas, so around the barn Albert can kind of go off leash and go down here. We go for walks all down in between the paddocks and in the barn, and he just helps them to map out the place. And again, to just be brave.
He's an awesome dog. He never has a bad day. He loves to eat. And what's crazy with a deaf dog, normally you would yell, but I'm running across the yard going, like with hands trying to get in front of him. He knows this has come. So you have to get in front of his eyesight.
The biggest thing is probably just the time. That's the biggest, like we just can't leave. We shuffle, like one of us, if we have to go away, one of us will go, as opposed to 2. Like we've really tried to pour our time into our dogs, especially with like the blind ones. It takes them so long to they're amazing, but to like map out our house, to just acclimate. Sasha's great with that. You know, I've been able to concentrate on the horses more, but she's great with just working with them on a daily basis. That's the biggest thing that we love, is just seeing the progression, giving homes to animals that maybe wouldn't have the same type of home if we didn't adopt them.
His name is Franklin. He's an English foxhound. Franklin is, how old is he?
He'll be 7 in December.
7. They weren't sure how old he was when we first got him, just because he's a rescue. He looks a little bit like Frankenstein, as you can see here. This dog has been through the war and back. We got him from a place called Pets with Disabilities in Maryland. They had already amputated his hind leg, which they think was from an accident, and they left him in the woods. Other than that, he's had a tumor here that has been removed twice. The second time, they had to remove it down to the bone, so that's why he has this long scar up here. He's had 4 surgeries in 4 months, and you can see he's just happy as can be. A little camera shy right now, but other than that, he's a very happy boy. So what happened with the emergency surgery, his leg here was bandaged, and we had to redo his bandage every day for a few months and drive back and forth to Annapolis and all kinds of stuff like that to get this to heal. It was very big, and like I said, it went down to the bone. Franklin is notorious for eating the cones off of his own head. He can bend them and then chew them off and then get to his bandage. Well, the one night he had gotten through and gotten his bandage, but I didn't think that he had eaten all of the gauze and everything until later when he was trying to go to the bathroom and he couldn't. We rushed him to the emergency vet. They did x-rays of his stomach and his intestines were all bunched up. The gauze had gone through his stomach and wrapped around there. So always be so careful what your dog eats. You might think it's nothing, but anything can happen. That night, they called us every hour on the hour to update us on him, but he did have to have emergency surgery, so he actually has another scar right under his belly, which again is why he looks like Frankenstein, because he's got a scar here, here, and underneath. But look at him, he's so happy. And we love him, he's a good boy.
This is our 3rd foxhound or coonhound. Like what'll happen a lot of times is hunters will they'll run them, and then if they don't come back, they get lost. So they're very. He's our second three-legged English foxhound. This dog would eat bark off a tree. He's always on a diet.
We have to manage his weight just because he doesn't have this leg here. So.
But he loves the beach. We take him to dinner at the beach at least once every 2 weeks.
He's a great dinner date, honestly.
Loves ice cream, like just.
He's been to Maine.
He did to Maine. He hiked the Cadillac Mountain. He made it to the
Made it all the way to the top.
We take our dogs with us pretty much
Everywhere, yeah.
Hence the minivan.
We took one Great Dane to the Harrisburg sale last year.
Yes.
Took him all around there. Like Josh said, we take them everywhere. He went to the water park for the first time this year over at Killen's Pond, and then we're gonna go to a baseball game with him and Oliver.
They have the Washington Nationals. We take him to the baseball game there. Barks at the park.
It goes along with the thing you were talking about earlier about like just making different sacrifices and time to put in with them. So instead of the two of us just going to do something, we take our dogs to go with us. He is really camera shy. This is kind of shocking. Look at him. He doesn't even want to look at it.
He loves
What a silly
people.
boy.
Like he's just.
He is. He's such a
happy.
good boy.
I love him.
Josh and Sasha love providing a home for canines. But of course, they make it their mission to help our retired Standardbreds find loving homes too, after our four-legged athletes hang up their harness.
It's amazing the passion that he has for saving Standardbreds and the lengths that he'll go to save them and to donate as much money and time and just resources as he can, whether it's shipping one from a kill pen to a new home, shipping one here, finding a turnout place for them to go to, just all kinds of different things. And the great thing about Josh is he never stops. Just with all of it, he can get emails and phone calls throughout the night and he'll still try his best to find them. And even when we don't think we ourselves have the resources to kind of take care of everything or that we shouldn't take on another one, he just figures out how to make it work again. Especially like he said with time, how much time everything takes, even when we think we don't have enough time, he makes everything work. That's what I always say about him. He always figures everything out.
It's
and
both
he makes
of
it
us
work.
that we work together, and we have owners that also help. It's a team effort.
It soothes our soul to give back and to help take care of all of these animals than to turn a blind eye to it. We would feel worse not doing anything than to at least do what little bit or anything that we can in general. This is Skedaddle. He is broke to ride. He enjoys trail riding, not so much ring work, but he was a lot of work to kind of just get back into a healthy frame of mind when we got him.
He raced from his 2-year-old year to December 27th of his 14-year-old year. Like 400 and some starts, and literally raced from North Pole to South Pole. Just an awesome horse. 60 some wins. Just an awesome horse. We had him at 2 different times during his career. I think 2009 and 2011. We had him 2 times during his racing career. And when we had him, we loved him. Tough as nails. He made his money the hard way.
Yeah, and continually, without a break. So now he gets a nice break out here. They are ready to come in. I didn't want to get squished there. If there's any way that other people can ever donate or help in any way, whether it's with dogs or animals or like cats in the barn, horses, anything, it's so important to help all of these animals, especially with racehorses. Racehorses give so much to us. If you think about it, they give their entire lives over to us. So if we and anyone else can do anything else to give back, then that would just be super.
It's the toughest thing in the business that we deal with. It's been great for us because we will continually adopt horses, save them from like different rescues, and Sasha will break them to ride. We found that if Sasha has them broke to ride, and then we'll put them online like videos and stuff, we've been able to find
homes.
It's much easier. It's honestly just our passion. Like we receive more than we give. We love it. It's challenging. Both our parents think we're crazy, our friends, kids,
everyone.
It's trying at times, but it far outweighs the blessing that we get by just giving them a life, and we love it.